While millions of people plan their weekends around matches, argue passionately over teams, and feel their mood rise or fall because of a final score, there's a large group of people quietly watching from the outside and feeling absolutely nothing. No excitement, no anger, no emotional attachment. And if that sounds like you, here's something important. It's not a flaw. In fact, psychology suggests there may be something very interesting going on inside your mind. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may finally understand why sports obsession never made sense to you, and why that difference matters more than you think. Let's clear something up right away. Not being into sports doesn't mean you're dull, unmotivated, or lacking passion. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy competition or excitement. And it definitely doesn't mean something is missing in your personality. What it usually means is that your brain looks for meaning, reward, and connection in different places than most people do. And once you understand how that works, a lot of awkward conversations suddenly make sense. To understand why sports matters so much to many people, we first need to understand something very old about human nature. Humans are social creatures. For thousands of years, survival depended on belonging to a group. Being part of a tribe meant safety, food, and identity. That instinct didn't disappear, it just evolved. Today, sports teams act like modern tribes. They have symbols, colors, rituals, rivals, and shared emotions. When someone supports a team, their brain releases chemicals linked to bonding and belonging. It genuinely feels like being part of something bigger than yourself. But here's where things shift. People who aren't obsessed with sports often have a weaker pull toward tribal identity. Their sense of self doesn't rely as heavily on group labels. They don't feel the same emotional reward from saying, "we won," or "we lost." Instead, they're more comfortable standing apart. Psychologists often describe these individuals as more internally anchored. Their identity comes from personal values, ideas, or individual goals rather than shared group victories. There's research backing this up. Studies show that people who show low interest in spectator sports also tend to show less us versus them thinking. In simple terms, they don't automatically feel hostility or loyalty just because someone supports a different side. Their thinking is often less polarized and more nuanced. To them, a team losing isn't personal, and a team winning doesn't feel like a personal achievement either. Now let's talk about the brain chemistry behind sports obsession, because this is where things get really interesting. Sports fans experience powerful dopamine activity while watching games. Dopamine is the brain's anticipation chemical. It spikes during uncertainty, suspense, and near-miss moments. Every play, every chance, every final second keeps the brain engaged. This unpredictable reward pattern is extremely stimulating. It's the same reason people find things like gambling or surprise rewards so compelling. For people who don't care about sports, this dopamine loop simply doesn't activate in the same way. Watching a game doesn't feel exciting, it feels repetitive or meaningless. Their brain isn't responding to vicarious competition. And some researchers believe genetics may play a role here. Variations in dopamine receptors can influence how strongly someone reacts to competitive or spectator-based activities. In other words, your lack of interest might not be a choice at all. It might just be how your brain is wired. Another psychological difference shows up in how people connect their self-worth to outcomes. Sports fans often experience something called reflected success. When their team wins, they feel personally uplifted. When the team loses, they feel personally affected. People who aren't obsessed with sports usually don't do this. Their confidence and sense of value stay more stable because they aren't tied to events they can't control. Their emotional state depends more on their own actions than on external results. This doesn't make one group better than the other, it just makes them different. In fact, sports fans often show strong emotional engagement and shared empathy. They care deeply, feel deeply, and experience highs and lows together. Non-sports people don't lack empathy. They just distribute it differently. Emotional energy is limited. If you don't spend it on teams and games, you're likely investing it elsewhere. Many people who don't care about sports pour that emotional attention into relationships, creative work, ideas, art, learning, or personal growth. Studies have found that low sports interest often correlates with higher openness to experience. These individuals seek emotional stimulation through music, storytelling, nature, deep conversations, or intellectual challenges. They aren't avoiding emotion, they're just finding it through different doors. For some people, indifference towards sports also has a personal history. Maybe sports culture felt unwelcoming growing up. Maybe competition felt aggressive or overwhelming. Maybe gym class was a place of embarrassment instead of confidence. Or maybe none of that happened and sports just never captured your attention. All of these reasons are valid. There doesn't need to be trauma behind every preference. One of the biggest disconnects between sports fans and non-fans comes down to how each group finds meaning. Sports fans often connect to long-term stories, underdogs, comebacks, rivalries, legends. These narratives unfold over time and feel emotionally rich. People who don't care about sports often look at that and think, why invest so much emotion in something that doesn't affect my real life? To them, meaning feels more powerful when it's personal, direct, and tangible. Psychologists describe this difference as passive versus active emotional investment. Sports fans invest emotionally as observers. Non-sports people prefer engagement where their actions actually influence the outcome. They want their effort to matter directly. Again, neither approach is wrong. There's simply two different ways of satisfying the same human needs for purpose, connection, and fulfillment. What's especially fascinating is that many people who aren't obsessed with sports report feeling more present in their daily lives. They're not spending hours emotionally absorbed in distant outcomes. Instead, they're focused on their own challenges, projects, and experiences. There's something quietly powerful about choosing to live your own story instead of watching someone else's. So, what does all of this mean for you? It means that if sports never click for you, you're not missing out on being human. Your brain just plays by different rules. Your reward system responds to different signals. Your sense of belonging, meaning, and excitement comes from places that feel more authentic to you. The next time someone asks, "Did you watch the game?" and you honestly don't care, remember this: you're not broken, you're not boring, you're not strange. You're simply wired for a different kind of depth. You're playing a different game, one where the wins and losses are personal, meaningful, and entirely your own. And if this video resonated with you, chances are you also think differently in other areas of life. In fact, quiet and independent minds often process the world in ways most people never notice. If you want to understand that side of yourself better, the next video will explain exactly why and how it might be your greatest strength.